Hello and a warm welcome to the Break Retest channel. Today we are going to look at a very classic setup that I have traded very recently and will demonstrate it on the currency pair AUTUSD on the hourly time frame. So what do I see here? So there was a double top that formed here. It came from below and created a double top, and now we've been falling down. The load was tested here nicely, and I'm trading break retest of some zone. That means here I see a zone. I've identified the zone. Here I have one swing, and here I have a second swing, which was impulsively broken. My setup is to wait a couple of hours after that, so it's not just a classic false break, but rather a slow pullback or throwback to this zone. That's my classic setup. So here I'm speculating long. I set up a pending order, and I always place the pending order just before the zone. The stop loss goes just behind the breakout candle, which is this breakout candle, so I always place it a couple of pips just behind the breakout candle to keep it safe. And I set the take profit at a 2-to-1 ratio. I always have my money management at 2-to-1. So there was a lot of trading here, which means that the breakthrough could happen here, and the potential for it to happen here is small. I don't see this as a complicated trade or problematic at all. And I'm speculating that even though we've gone down here, the reversal of the trend is starting to remind me a bit that we're beginning to see, we'll see. It looks like we're going to make higher highs and higher lows, which means we're likely moving up into that structure. And I'm speculating that even though we've gone down here, the reversal of the trend is starting to remind me a bit that we're beginning to see, we'll see. It looks like we're going to make higher highs and higher lows, which means we're likely moving up into that structure. The setup is set, and now it's up to the market to see what actually happens. So the price is really moving towards that zone, and what happened is that my pending order didn't get filled by PIP2. That really happened to me. So I was figuring out whether the zone is really valid, if I set up the trade wrong, or how I should position myself. Sometimes it just happens that the price doesn't reach the shaded zone, but it turns around even before that zone. Then I'm able to trade that zone twice with 2 touches on the condition that a higher high must be formed when I trade long. Sometimes it just happens that the price doesn't reach the shaded zone, but it turns around even before that zone. Then I'm able to trade that zone twice with 2 touches on the condition that a higher high must be formed when I trade long. I have one swing here, and if it makes another swing that is a higher high than this one, then I would still want to trade that zone and leave the pending order there for the second time. So now I'm waiting to see if that higher high gets formed. I have one swing here, and if it makes another swing that is a higher high than this one, then I would still want to trade that zone and leave the pending order there for the second time. So now I'm waiting to see if that higher high gets formed. I'm just waiting. So now I'm waiting to see if that higher high gets formed. I'm waiting. So far we're down. That was created, among other things, on Monday, and I leave the pending order in place for about a week. I'm leaving the pending order for a week, not much longer, just a week, to see if the current activity that I want to see on this chart gets fulfilled. So I'm waiting. Great. And now it fulfilled my assumption that when it makes a higher high, well, it beautifully did that, making a higher high than the first swing, which happened here. So I still have that zone valid, and I would still like to trade it. So I just have to wait and see if it comes back for that second retest of the zone. Let's take a look at that. Here, a zone was also formed, a beautiful zone that was impulsively broken, and it could be traded long again, but I'm already in one trade here, meaning I already have a pending order here, and if I were to trade here as well, I would either have to cancel the lower order to avoid doubling my risk, meaning at this moment I am currently awaiting further developments, but I already have that order set up here, meaning here as at the moment I can't trade, first of all. And secondly, I need to wait for it to be, I prefer a slow pullback, throwback, coming from that zone. So here, it's more like a falling candle. There's a risk of a false break here, meaning it just broke out falsely, so I'm waiting here and keeping the original setup in place. Is valid. The zone is valid. Even though it didn't pick me up, it made that higher high, and I'm able to trade that zone twice, but not 3 times. So what do I see here? During this time, it looks like a double top formed here, and now I see that there's even a retest of the neckline. Okay, so far, everything's still fine. Come down, but I'm already seeing that it's definitely making lower swings, so we might really be going down now, indeed, those lower swings. Right now, currently, we're going somewhere on Thursday and now on Friday. Beautiful, it's luxurious. So that's luxurious. It hit exactly into the zone we had there. It picked us up with that pending order, and we just hit take profit perfectly. That's the ideal setup that occurred because it was immediate. That's what we need. We like to see that. Unfortunately, I came here. We could have made 4R out of it, but we didn't because the waiting machine didn't take us here. Again, it was set up incorrectly, or the zone, or there. It's hard to say. However, the setup also accounts for the dreamer test, which worked perfectly for us, even this ideal situation where it picks you up and you immediately get take profit. That's the best thing a trader can have. So the breaker test strategy is just amazing. Totally wow. This is what we're looking for in the market. This is our job, to find these setups in the market.